I didn't know it was story time. Hey folks, I'm Matt and this is Robin, and we are going to be doing a new segment here called When the Smoke Clears.
Just to introduce who we are and talk a little bit more about
kind of our history and where we came from and why we're doing all this fancy stuff. And
yeah.
We're talking to you now on a balmy 49-degree day from northern Minnesota. We just moved up to the north woods of Minnesota back in May.
We bought the house in May. We moved in June.
We moved from the suburbs. Robin actually grew up in Coon Rapids, if you're familiar with Minnesota. And I grew up in Monticello. We got married in 2013, and we have two little boys that run amok on this farm.
They're probably inside doing that right now.
Yep. Wouldn't be surprised if we see fire.
At least it'll warm us up out here.
So I still work full-time down in the cities, and I make the commute every week and stay with family. We made the decision that it was still worth it to keep that job for me. Robin stays home full-time with the boys, and I think she has the more difficult job of the two. So some of the reasons that we decided that we wanted to homestead, basically, we started taking a look at all of our finances and expenses during COVID, much like many people did. And we realized that there was just a lot of stuff that we really didn't even need. A lot of things that were kind of frivolous. And we decided we want to make the move to do something like this so we could cut costs and have more time together as a family.
Mm-hmm.
And live a more sustainable lifestyle, more self-sustainable. I've been a hunter my entire life, and I've always hunted around this area, and I just love it up here. So I've always kind of dreamed about basically living off the land. So we're incorporating that kind of in our lifestyle.
Another reason why we decided we wanted to homestead is because we just kind of saw the direction that everything has been heading as far as public schools go, and the income that I was making when I worked full-time wasn't enough for us to pay for a private Christian school. So we decided that it would be more worth it for me to be home full-time with the kids and homeschool them, and then just cut out the expense of before and after school care and daycare and not have to worry about what weird things get incorporated into public school education. So this way we get the opportunity to teach them more biblical stuff along with their regular school curriculum. And we get a say in what they grow up learning from a very young age. We also did this because it affords us the ability to live out our whole life in more traditional and biblical roles. And I get the chance to make our family my first ministry rather than being torn so many different directions and not being able to focus as much on our kids and on Matt and making sure that our home is taken care of the way we want it to be, really.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, this really, we get the chance to teach our kids some awesome skills, some awesome life skills that we would not be able to teach them. We just wouldn't have the time to teach them if we were both working full-time jobs and trying to keep on top of the homework and unindoctrinating them. But anyway, so yeah, this just really gives us a chance to live the lifestyle that we want to live while our kids are young. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we decided that we were gonna homestead instead of continuing our life in the suburbs and doing things the normal American way today. it does seem like there's a big move toward this everywhere.
Yep.
And it's nice to have that online community right now, because we have been watching a lot of people's online content as well, and picking up tips, and more so me.
So kind of the goals that we had with living here was to grow and harvest most of our food. We kind of took a look at how much we were spending each week on groceries, and it was astronomical, which I'm sure everyone is familiar with. So we needed a place where we had the space to do that. I always hunted public land around where we grew up, so it's nice to now have our own private land. In fact, last night, sitting in the deer stand, I had some issues with my equipment. It's a little bit older equipment. I missed probably the biggest buck I've ever seen last night because my arrow failed. So we wanted to diversify our income streams a little bit. I run a firearms training business here, so
the hope is to eventually have Matt not working full-time away from home, but maybe working either very part-time away from home or solely from home, and be able to grow that business enough to supplement some or all of his income eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll take us a while to build up to that, but that's one of the things that we were really looking forward to as far as diversifying. Something else that we're looking into is eventually doing an Airbnb here on the property, and being able to have people come and stay on a part of the property that's a little more secluded and private, and have their own off-grid Airbnb experience. So in the same vein as doing an off-grid Airbnb cabin, that's one of our goals for our homestead as well, is to become not necessarily off-grid, but less reliant on the grid. And, you know, to a point where if something happened, you know, we've seen all the power shortages happening different places in the country. So to the point where if something were to happen here, we would be able to continue to live pretty normally.
Most people don't think about it, but in the event that you lose power completely, a couple of weeks and things are going to get really, really rough for everyone. So we're going to be doing things to make sure that that doesn't affect us as much. We've already installed a wood stove in the house. Can't quite see it behind us, but there's plenty of wood almost to get us through the winter. We still have a little bit more to cut up, but I think one of the projects we're going to be doing next spring is possibly putting a pond out in one of our fields. I need the dirt to build a gun range for my classes, and it'd be cool to have waterfall coming into the property as well. One of the things that we definitely need is internet, mostly to stay connected to family and for homeschool for the boys. So that's probably not something we're going to get rid of. Obviously we can live without it in an emergency situation, but
some of the things that are a little farther out that we're going to be looking into are beekeeping is one thing I want to look at in a few years. I want a chance to really study a little bit about it before we jump into it, and to make sure that we're settled in here and have, you know, all of our other projects that are major kind of caught up. We're also looking at doing solar at some point in the future. We've put in a couple of little solar
lights and battery chargers and that kind of thing.
Yeah, just small solar panels, and eventually we'll probably do some rain catchment
for the garden and for the animals and that kind of thing.
That could happen next year, but we'll just see what else is on our immediate to-do list once spring rolls around, I suppose.
All right, so we had to change venues a little bit. It's cold out and our kids went nuts at the moment, so we are now inside in the nice warm house with a fire lit.
We've had kind of a day of weather.
Yeah, we got hail a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah.
Or sleet. Call that sleet? Wasn't really hail. Anyway, as I was saying, one of our goals was to share our skills on the interwebs there, and hopefully other people can learn from us. And we've been learning from other people. I have already practiced most of these skills, but she needs a little bit of help in that department. So
I'm learning. I grew up in the suburbs. It's a very different life. But that is one of the goals, is for us to learn, for me to learn, for our kids to learn, and then for us to be able to share here on YouTube or wherever the skills that we are learning or that he already has, and to be able to connect with other homesteading pages that we can pick up tips from as well. So I think one of the biggest goals that we have in this is to be able to share the gospel as well with people.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to talk about our faith and do it on a public platform and share with people that may not know us what we believe and why we believe that. So that's something that I'm pretty excited and passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
We're both Christians, and so we believe in the Bible and Jesus Christ as the Savior of mankind. And so, yeah, if you have questions about that, definitely feel free to reach out. That I know.
That one she's got down a little bit better than me. We were planning on doing a little tour of the farmstead, but weather's pretty crappy out today, so we might do it in the spring or maybe even winter wonderland. We'll see.
So we'll end this video now. We just wanted to do a quick introduction of who we are and why we're doing this and what our goals are going forward. And we're hoping to be able to connect more with some other homesteading YouTube channels and pages on social media. So if you want to reach out to us, feel free. Our contact information is in the description, along with information about our firearms training business if you have any questions on that.
Thank you guys for watching. If you like our content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for being here. When the smoke clears, you'll find us here on Gunsmoke Farmstead.
See ya!